Hello viewers, I just want to remind you that it's the last day, the last very day of the year 2023, and I wish you a happy new year full of blessings, joy, and success in whatever you do. Now, here I bring you what we call preparation for your mathematics exams from scratch. This video is mainly targeting the young mathematicians out there, those who are beginning their journey of mathematics. You want to create a strong foundation for yourself. You want to be a very good mathematician. This is going to be the right way to start. So this is your tutor, Peter Ekaja from Uganda. My telephone contacts are there. And then we also have a website where you can find a lot of support materials. You can find a lot of help from us, including extra services. That is the one-on-one tutoring services. We also do that at a very affordable cost. So in case you feel you want to get that kind of help, a one-on-one online lesson with us, please contact me through those contacts. Without wasting a lot of time, I am going to begin right away with one of the basic foundational topics. Guess which topic it is? That is going to be algebra for the young mathematicians in lower secondary, those who are preparing themselves to get to secondary, and those who are already in secondary preparing for different forms of exams. It can be GCSE, it can be SATs, it can be any form of exam as long as you're in lower secondary, because this is one of the commonest topics in almost all the curricula. So it's not going to be very different from different countries. You need to follow up this and find its benefits. Without wasting a lot of time, let's move on and start with algebra. Now, when we talk about algebra as our first chapter, we are basically going to begin talking about one of the most important terms, that is what we call an algebraic expression. And without wasting a lot of time, we simply need to know that it's a combination of variables, numerical values, operations, and grouping of symbols. So what do we expect? First of all, when we talk about variables, this can be letters, it can be X and Y, it can be Z. When we talk about numerical values, these are simply constant values. It can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3, it can be -5, or any other number. And when you talk about operations, basically you expect the signs, the plus, the minus, the multiplication or division sign. And then when we group all of them together, we shall do the grouping of symbols, forming what we call an algebraic expression. I have quoted out a few examples of algebraic expressions here, and as you can see, one of them is 2x plus 5y, 3x minus a half y, 6x minus 5y. These are simple examples of algebraic expressions, and we are right away going to move on to a point whereby we form our own algebraic expressions, but out of mathematical statements given to us. So we're going to interpret, then write a mathematical statement in a mathematical format. That is by writing an algebraic expression. Let's start right away with the very first example. So the very first example says, write an algebraic expression for each of the following statements. Part A, 3 less than 2 times x. 3 less than 2 times x means you need to first look at the meaning of 2 times x. 2 times x means you get 2, you multiply it by x, and definitely that gives you 2x. But they are telling us 3 less than, 3 less than. That means you're going to get the 2x and then you make it less by 3. And that means the expression becomes 2x minus 3. And that is an algebraic expression helping us to represent that mathematical statement. Let's move on right to part B. Okay, part B says 5 times the sum of x and y. 5 times. 5 times the sum of x and y. So most importantly, we shall first begin by looking at the sum of x and y. When you say sum of x and y, it means you're going to add x plus y. But now they said 5 times. That means you multiply this by 5 and therefore the right algebraic expression becomes 5 into brackets x plus y. And it is as simple as that. Looking at part C of this question, it says 4 times the number y increased by 5. 4 times a number. That means I get 4 multiplied by that number y, which gives us 4y, and then you increase it by 5. Increasing by 5 means you add a 5 to that number. So the expression in this case becomes 4y plus 5. Then part D says trace the product of the numbers p and q decreased by 2. Trace the product of the numbers p and q decreased by 2. First of all, we have trace the product of the numbers p and q. Now, when I look at the product of the numbers p and q, this definitely becomes pq, because when you multiply p by q, you get pq, but they say trace the product. So it means I will say 2 times pq, which is 2pq, and then decrease by 2 means you subtract a 2. You subtract a 2, and that becomes the correct algebraic expression representing that mathematical statement. Question 2, we can go right away to question 2. It says Peter received X phone calls each hour for 5 hours yesterday. Note the words each hour for 5 hours yesterday, and received Y phone calls each hour for 3 hours today. What is the total number of phone calls he received in the 2 days in terms of X and Y? So first of all, remember, in the very first day, that was yesterday, Peter received X phone calls each hour, but for 5 hours. That means the total number of calls received yesterday would actually be 5 multiplied by X. That is for yesterday. So that is for yesterday. That is for yesterday. Then for today, they said he received Y phone calls each hour for 3 hours today. So I will get 3, I multiply by Y, giving us 3Y. So the total number of phone calls, definitely becomes the sum for yesterday and then the one for today. That means we get 5x plus 3y, and that is our simplest answer. In case you have any question about this, please always feel free to approach me in any way so that you are helped. Let's move on to question 3. Now, question 3 says Isaac received P text messages on Friday, 3 less than thrice as many text messages on Saturday than on Friday, and 5 more text messages on Sunday than on Saturday. What is the total number of text messages he received over the 3 days? Note the days carefully. We have Friday, we have Saturday, and then we have Sunday. Now, what are they telling us? First of all, they said Isaac received P text messages on Friday. So for Friday, we shall have P text messages. Saturday, what happened? There were 3 less than thrice as many text messages on Saturday than on Friday. Get that statement clearly. 3 less than thrice. So there is thrice as many messages on Saturday than on Friday. So I will say, first of all, I get thrice the number of those messages that were received on Friday. That means it's going to be 2 times P, giving us 2P, but they said 3 less than. So I will say minus 3. And then they said, and 5 more text messages on Sunday. 5 more text messages on Sunday than on Saturday. That means on Sunday, it will be 2p minus 3, but plus 5 because they said 5 more. When you simplify this up, it definitely comes to 2p plus 2. How have I obtained this? Minus 3 plus 5 is actually positive 2. Then, now they said, what is the total number of text messages he received over the 3 days? That means I will now say total number of messages, total number of text messages or messages will just be the same as P plus 2P minus 3 plus 2P plus 2. And when I add this up, you will get P plus 2P, that is already 3P, plus another 2P, that is 5P. You have minus 3 plus 2. Minus 3 plus 2 is definitely going to be minus 1. So it means the total number of messages in terms of P will be 5P minus 1. As simple as that. Now, as we move to question 4, question 4 says, a train takes 10 minutes to get from station A to station B. The same journey by car takes 50 minutes longer. Write an expression of the amount of time in minutes it takes the car to travel from A to B. Now, you need to be very careful here. Very, very careful. First of all, they already told you that a train for it takes 10 minutes to simply move from station A to station B. But they say the same journey by car takes 50 minutes longer. It means when you use a car, you will delay slightly by 50 minutes compared to the person who uses a train. That means definitely if someone wants you to get the amount of time in minutes, it takes the car to travel from A to B. So for the car would simply take the time taken by the train, which is t, but increased by 50. And therefore the answer becomes t plus 50 minutes. T plus 50 minutes. And it is as simple as that. It is as simple as that. We move on to question 5. Question 5 says, Stephen is 10 years old. Rachel is 10 years older than Stephen. Write an expression for Rachel's age. This is definitely going to be very easy because they already told you Stephen is 10 years old. And then Rachel is 10 years older than Stephen. That means Rachel's age would simply be n for Stephen, but plus 10. Because for Rachel, she's older than Stephen by 10 years. So it is n plus 10. That becomes our algebraic expression. Then part B, this is supposed to be part B, and this is supposed to be part C. Tim is 13 years younger than Stephen. Write an expression for Tim's age. Now, Tim is being compared with Stephen, but what did we say earlier? Stephen was already clearly given n years. So that means if we want to get the one of Tim was 13 years younger. That means I will get the age of Stephen. I subtract what? I subtract 13, and therefore the expression becomes n minus 13 years old. As simple as that. Then look at part C. Write an expression for the total age of Stephen, Rachel, and Tim. Now the total age is what they want. So what do? Add all of them. So we had Stephen had n. Now we had Rachel, n plus 10. And then we had Tim had n minus 13. So what do? You simplify this. So you have n plus n plus n. That is going to be 3n, definitely. And then 10 minus 13, that will be minus 3. So the total age in this case will actually be 3n minus 3 years. This is the total age for all the 3 individuals. As simple as that. Let's move on. We still have 2 more examples to finish up this tutorial. and I hope it will be beneficial to you. Okay, question 6 says tea bags are sold in small boxes and large boxes. There are 100 tea bags in a small box. There are 240 tea bags in a large box. Joel buys X small boxes and Y large boxes of tea bags. Before I even go any further, X small boxes were bought, and then Y large boxes were also bought. But remember, in each small box, there were 100 tea bags. That means if you bought X small boxes, the total that you would be having would actually be 100 multiplied by X, which is 100X. That would be the total number of tea bags. Then for the big ones, remember this is for small. This is for the small one. Then for the large one or the big one, they say why large boxes of tea bags were bought, but in each large one, there were 240 tea bags. That means we shall also have 240, 240y. Now, when they tell you to write an expression for the total number of tea bags Joel buys, the total number of tea bags now, definitely becomes 100x plus 240, 240y. As simple as that. As simple as that. Then finally, our last question, question 7, it says apples cost 25 pence each, bananas cost 20 pence each. The total cost of A apples and B bananas is C. Write a formula for the total cost of A apples and B bananas. First of all, they said each apple costs 25 pence and each banana costs 20 pence. But they said they bought A apples and then B bananas. That means the total cost for apples will definitely be get 25 pence. You multiply by the number of apples bought. There were A apples. That means the total there becomes 25A. Then when we look at bananas, they bought each at 20 pence. It is very clear here. So I would say 20. I multiply by the number of bananas bought. There will be bananas. So I multiply by B. That means it gives us 20 what? 20B. Then from here, they said we write a formula. We write a formula for the total cost. C. They gave us C as the total cost. They gave us C as the total cost. That means C will definitely be 25A, 25A, plus 20B. And this becomes our correct formula. If you really found this video very important, please look out for the next video and benefit from these best services. And like I said, in case you feel you need that one-on-one tutoring services, I am always available. Contact me using my contacts that I already gave you from the start. I also encourage you to subscribe to this channel, share, so that innocent young mathematicians there can benefit from these services. With this, I thank you so much. And again, wish you a happy New Year 2024. See you in the next tutorial.